What up, chat? Can you guys hear me? Hey, what's up? Wow, there's a lot of people in here already. That didn't take long. What a week, eh? What do we think? You guys are already busy in the chat. Talking about stuff. Where should we start? You guys want to talk tire testing or should we talk Rocket One first? I posted yesterday on Facebook a picture of the Rocket One with who people would want to put in that car, and it got 661 comments. I was not prepared for that. Not prepared for that. So, well, Rocket One, Hudson O'Neal out. We knew that was official last night. Obviously, been rumored last couple of days. So, the question is going to be now who takes over that ride? And I would say the news that just started, or that just popped up here in the last little bit, is probably a pretty good indication of who's going to be in the Rocket One going forward. So if you missed that little bit of news, Tim McCready has officially left Paler Motorsports. Carson Ferguson, the other Paler car, is going to see some sort of elevated national schedule now. So I would say that that's probably a pretty good idea. It gives you a pretty good idea about what's happening. There was apparently a Facebook post as well in the last day or two where Paler was getting ready to take McCready to the Hunt the Front show, but that post was then deleted. I can't even keep up with this chat already. You guys are busy. Busy. All right, so anyway, McCready seems to be the most likely one to go take the Rocket seat. And if you think about it, looking at the Lucas points, right? So it's pretty clear the Rocket House car is going to stay Lucas points. So if they're going to have a legitimate shot to get into the playoffs, they've got to grab somebody who's run all the races up to this point. And so that obviously shrinks the list down pretty quickly. My Facebook keeps going off here. I got to turn that down. Doing Witch on Dirt says I should announce myself to Rocket already. I don't think Mark Richards is hiring me anytime soon for anything. But anyway, if you go down the list of Lucas points, right? Ricky Thornton Jr., obviously not leaving his ride. Hudson O'Neal, P2. We know he's not in the Rocket car. Davenport not leaving. I would assume Dalton Wilson not going anywhere. Brandon Shepard, he's fifth in Lucas points right now, but with Bobby Pierce now out of the way, would seem to make sense that he's going to stay Outlaws. Devin Moran, we haven't heard anything about the situation, the tire situation this week, but his Lucas status seems to be okay for now. Jimmy Owens, is, not to take anything away from Jimmy and what he's done this year, but is that really the direction you want to go for a little bit, a guy that's a little bit older? I don't see Marler going anywhere. Obviously, he just got in that ride he's in. Alberson, Tyler Erb. I saw a bunch of people saying Tyler Erb, as their wish for this deal. I don't really see that. Kyle Bronson is a guy that's run all the races as well. You get a little further down, Drake Troutman. Now you're kind of starting to reach a little bit. So, of this list, McCready seems to make the most sense. It hasn't been a great start to the year for those guys. He's still ninth. He's 215 points out, so he was obviously going to have to get hot to run those guys down. So people asking what's going to happen with the points for both the driver and the team. I mean, obviously O'Neal is going to stay second in the driver points, and I think Lucas does owner points. So the Rocket 1 will stay up in there. And you know, the Hunt the Front guys talked about this. Like, you could potentially have two different champions with this deal. Which under it says Joe Duvall. So yeah, I mean, if it's not McCready, I don't know why McCready is leaving the Paler ride. Just out of nowhere, just randomly. That's just completely unconnected that McCready's out of the Paler car. People are asking about Bloomquist. What Bloomquist photo? Is there a Bloomquist photo somewhere that I missed? Nobody's responding about the Bloomquist photo. If you're talking about the Bloomquist video that Rico posted, that was just a troll job. Rico knew that when he posted it. There was a photo of Bloomers. I think that's an old photo from years ago or photoshopped or something. Bloomquist is not going in the Rocket 1. So we also know that O'Neal doesn't have a ride somewhere else, but that he supposedly has a temporary ride for at least some races coming up. Let me go find the... I had retweeted it. So he says he has officially lined up a very temporary deal for next weekend for our two Lucas Oil races at Atomic and Brownstown. So Huddy will be in a different car. Obviously, somebody's going to put him in a car to continue his Lucas season. And I know that there are all sorts of just absolutely insane, terrible rumors about why this went south. Obviously, I don't know the reason. I've been told a lot of things. I've been messaged a lot of things. Some of it's insane. I don't know that I believe some of it. The people that I trust, that I've spoken to, have not said those things. So just because it's on the internet doesn't mean you should believe it. If it's on a forum or an anonymous account tweets it, that doesn't necessarily mean it's true. I feel like we are at a point where we just want to believe all of the most terrible things. I think the idea that this thing just isn't working or wasn't working and just went sideways, it's just like people just don't want to believe that type of stuff. So there has to be something more behind it. But I don't know that that's true in a lot of these cases. Sometimes people just can't work together. If you guys are just tuning in for the first time, feel free to hit that subscribe button, like the video. That certainly helps the channel. We are almost to 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think like 29.6 right now. So if everybody that was in here hit the subscribe button, we would be really close. Also, I have new stickers. I've shared on social media and talked about it on the Daily Show, but new big boy stickers are in stock at shop.dirttracker.com. They are 5 inches by 5 inches. I have a whole bunch of them too. I got big old stacks. So plenty of stickers. I'm also working on hats and shirts, but it's going to be a few weeks. I got stuff to figure out there. So what else do we want to know about? Do we want to talk Rocket 1? Do we want to talk more tire stuff? Yeah, the people that are saying it's T Mac, it's like we're like above 90% here that it's T Mac to the Rocket One. Paler Motorsports doesn't just announce that McCready is leaving. Just It's not a coincidence. Duwich says the tire note feels like it was 5 years ago. I kind of agree with that. It's like we've almost forgotten about the fact that Bobby Pierce and Devin Moran and Kyle Bronson are kicked out of this stuff. We are getting some super chats. Steve Ski, thank you for the super chat. Also, Jesse from Hunt the Front, thank you, sir. Much appreciated. I was actually watching your guys' video earlier. Make sure you guys check out the Hunt the Front podcast YouTube channel as well. Those guys have been doing good stuff over there. I've sold Richardson brand hats before. I've had New Era hats. I've had Richardsons. I've had other truckers. I've had Flex Fits. I've had it all. People are messaging me on Instagram, asking me about Gas City. Nicole wants me to talk about sprint cars. I don't know what's happening in the late model world this week. It was the craziest 2 or 3 days, and I know a lot of other people who have been around the dirt late model world longer than I have talked about it being the craziest 2 or 3 days, maybe in the history of the sport. Man, you go from all of these guys getting suspended to, I mean, like literally both points lead or both champions from last year on the National Late Model Tours are wrapped up in stuff, and we're not even out of March yet. I haven't heard, like, people have been saying, did RTJ get the Gator? I don't know. I haven't seen anything about whether or not RTJ would have gotten the Gator. I don't know. Scott wants to know if I think they did the tire dope. I have no idea. JH asks if Lucas is suspending Moran. Lucas is not suspending Moran. I talked about that on the Daily Show this week. I have checked with Lucas about that. I know I spoke to Bobby Pierce this week. He says they did not do it. So whether you believe him or not, that's up to you. Obviously, World Racing Group doesn't. So so if it is McCready, what do we think about McCready in the rocket car? Because it seems like rockets to Longhorns, Longhorns to rockets. Is there going to be some sort of adjustment period? Is McCready going to be fast right out of the gate? Let me know in the chat what you guys think. Is it going to be like fast right away? McCready's going to be winning races and running top five? Or you think it's going to take him a little bit of time to figure this out? Come on. I know there's more opinions out there. There we go. What I will say, right, is, it took Shepard time going from rocket to Longhorn, different shocks, different engines. I think it's going to take time. You guys are killing me in the chat. Doomwich says Dale Jr. is going to announce McCready to the 88 Xfinity car. That would really blow some people up, wouldn't it? Again, I don't know why Hudson left. I know I've heard all sorts of things. The people I trust have not said the terrible things that have been appearing on the internet. So I think this is a situation where it will probably never be public knowledge what exactly went down. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we're kind of at a point now where it doesn't really matter. It's over. I think it's kind of a shame that it's over, because I think there was going to be a lot of race wins, multiple championships involved here with this deal. So I'm kind of sad that it's over a little bit. Like, I feel like there was, this opportunity for both sides to really kind of continue going that direction. And, Huddy is, probably a future Hall of Famer, if his career continues on this trajectory. But again, I don't know what O'Neill's plans are beyond. He said, obviously, on his post that he's got a temporary ride going forward. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't know what his plans are. And obviously, from what we saw with Paylor, McCready won't get replaced at Paylor. They're just going to throw most of the support now behind Carson Ferguson. And he was going to run full-time with the Hunt the Front series. Now it looks like maybe that's probably not going to happen, just kind of by the wording of that release. The Hunt the Front series, though, they're going to debut this weekend at Talladega. Like 50-plus cars. They have 20 full-timers confirmed right now, with Will Harrington signing on. Joshua Joyner said they might go beyond that by the time they start racing on Saturday. So there's going to be a lot of cars at Talladega. Steve wants to know if I'm coming to the Talladega short track. I am not coming to the Talladega short track. I have an insanely busy weekend of grad school projects and other things to do. So, no racing for me this weekend. It's funny to me, like, even looking in the chat right here, people talking about Hudson, it's funny to me that people will read something on the internet, and because it's a little salacious, they just automatically assume that that's what happened and that it's true. What is the chance the Outlaws race tonight? It seems to be the odds are looking better. I was actually texting with somebody at the racetrack here not that long ago. They said it wasn't raining yet and it was cloudy, but maybe there's a hope that they'll get it in tonight. Walker family wants to know what I'm studying. Data science. Yeah, Steve says no Friday off for you. I don't have any days off. I mean, I'm doing daily shows Sunday through Thursday, and then Fridays and Saturdays are basically left to just try to get as much schoolwork done as I can and other prep stuff for Dirt Tracker. So I'm effectively working 7 days a week, which isn't the first time in my life I've done that. What are my favorite race cars to watch? All of them? I don't know. And it's not just dirt racing. I worked in NASCAR for almost 20 years. I watch Formula One races. I'll probably catch some of Sebring this weekend. Busier now or with the NASCAR schedule? It's a different kind of busy. It's hard to equate the two because I'm home all the time now. Like when I was working in NASCAR, I was gone 3 days a week. But now I'm here, but it's like I get up in the morning and take my kid to school, and then by 8 o'clock I'm working on the Daily Show. And between Daily Show things and all the other stuff we have going on, I'm usually not done working until I go to bed at 9:30, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Axeman wants to know what grade I'm in. I'm working on my master's degree. Do I go to any IMSA events? I've never been to an IMSA. Well, not specifically IMSA. I did American Le Mans back in the day. Do I have any plans to possibly travel to more races? I do have plans to travel to more races. I've been offered several opportunities to do some stuff this year, which I hope to be able to follow through on. I did get to go to High Limit and Lucas at Golden Isles a couple of weeks ago, so that was fun. Did we ever get actually official statements out of Moran, Double Down, Bronson about all of this? I think I saw a post from Bronson's wife, but did they ever come out and say anything? I feel like I didn't see that. It was like we went from the tire stuff straight into the rocket stuff, so I quit looking for things like that. People should saying I should take Johnny Gibson's job. I don't want Johnny Gibson's job. I would not be good at that. Doomwich says, was I on the 43 coup when he won the Southern 500 2 years ago? No, I had been fired off the 43 like 2 months before that. Derek says, do I ever plan to go to the Chili Bowl? I've actually been to the Chili Bowl twice. But there might be an Eldora trip coming this year. There may be a Knoxville trip coming this year. We'll see. What is my favorite beer? Free and cold? I don't know. Yes, I did get fired. It's okay. You guys can ask me about getting fired off of the 43. It's fine. I got fired lots of times in my NASCAR career. You guys aren't going to hurt my feelings about that one. What NASCAR teams did I work for? The question is, what NASCAR teams didn't I work for? Roush, RCR, Petty, Germain, Front Row, a bunch. Did I get monoxide poisoning bad in Tulsa? I've been to Tulsa twice, and I have not gotten the Chili Bowl flu. Based on current events with NASCAR pit crews, you could likely make a comeback. Oh, I could definitely make a comeback. I've had phone calls and text messages the last 2 years since I've been out of it, but I'm good. I'm good. Give us the lowdown on getting fired. Well, when you change tires, you're a pit crew member. If you have moments where you suck at your job, it's really easy to just get rid of you and bring somebody else in. Jared wants to know if I will do my own Mount Rushmore of drivers, crew chiefs. Probably not. I've tried some of that stuff before, and it doesn't really seem to relate. Like, you guys don't tune into those types of things. I've really realized that when I talk about actually racing on the racetrack, I do worse. So that's why I've tried to get into more explanatory type things, the news, reactions to that stuff. Just because actually breaking down the racing and talking about that type of stuff, nobody seems to care about. Jake says ASCS canceled for the rain this weekend. Any more news? Well, they did hire a series director and a technical director. Lonnie Wheatley, series director. Cody Cordell is technical director. I don't know if James McFadden has gotten back into the United States yet. I know that he had told Jeremy Elliott before that he thought that he was going to be back in time for the next high limit race, but we're still, almost 3 weeks from the next high limit race. Clippo says, why is McCready speculated to take the Rocket 1? Where did that come from? It's been the rumor for the last 24 hours from a lot of people I've talked to. And then just here a little bit ago, Paler Motorsports announced that McCready has left the Paler Motorsports 39 car. So those things seem to, line up pretty good there. Yeah, the job hopping in NASCAR is kind of just part of the deal. I don't know if I'm going to the East Bay finale. I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. Where do I see Dirt Tracker in 5 years? I don't know. I didn't see Dirt Tracker being what it is since I started it, so I have no idea where this is going. Best moment I ever had on a NASCAR team. I've got some wins, and actually I have a Truck Series championship. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's one. I have another Truck Series championship. I've got a Watkins Glen Cup Series win ring, and I was also a part of American Cultural History 68 car Brandon Brown. I don't see this. Like, everybody keeps saying Pierce is going to go Lucas. Pierce is going to go Lucas. Pierce can't go Lucas. I mean, he could, but he's not going to. He's only run a single Lucas race all season. So it's not like he's going to go to Lucas and suddenly contend for the championship over there. He's further behind with Lucas than he would be if he stuck with the Outlaws. I don't think anybody gets the 39 ride. I think they're basically just going to throw all of their resources into the 93 with Ferguson and call that good. I don't think they're looking to hire anybody else there. I have not watched the Fager video. I need to go do that. I haven't watched that yet. Have I ever done a tour of my shelf? I've not done a tour of my shelf. Actually, I have stuff kind of all around. I've got, if I can reach it here, we got Texas Motor Speedway cowboy hats from Victory Lane. I don't know if you guys probably can't see. This is a Hooters Pro Cup trophy from way back in the day. I pitted for Bubba when we finished second at the Daytona 500, so I have the Bubba car. That's all crashed up. What else do I got? Chris Buescher road course win at Mid-Ohio. I have all sorts of stuff. Doing on Dirt wants to know if I still have his sticker. Of course. I still have the sticker board. It's still in existence. I just don't know what to do with it right now because I changed my setup and you can't really see it. But and I've still been adding to it, actually. If you notice down here, my new stickers on here. Is appealing the tire decision a losing fight? If you were innocent, would you try and fight it? Appealing the tire decision is incredibly difficult to do. You have to have some pretty compelling evidence to win that. It hasn't gone well for most people in the past. If you were innocent, I would absolutely try and fight it. I mean, you're not just, there's no reason to just take it. Jiggly Nacho says Bronson took all the Woo races off his schedule and he's done all the Lucas races so far. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Bronson could definitely go Lucas. Have I driven race cars in the past? I did some drag racing. I've done some bracket racing. That's about it. Devin wants to know what the story is of the Geico helmet behind me. That's one of my pit crew helmets. So after when when the tire changer got burned at Richmond and NASCAR started making everybody wear fireproof stuff, I started wearing full face helmets, and that was one of the first full face helmets I wore. This is a Ruroc. It's actually a snowboarding helmet. But I wore those for a long time. Jared wants to know if I'm going to restock the hoodies soon. I hadn't planned on restocking the hoodies, but I guess I could do that if you guys were down for hoodies again. Oh, he wants me to put the helmet on. Yeah, I mean, I can do that. So one of the reasons I quit wearing these is because they're 3 pieces. So the face mask comes off completely, and then it's got separate goggles. Take the hat off here. My bald head. I hope you guys meme this later. There you go, fam. Pit crew helmet. But when you have a flat tire, you better have your helmet on. So I quit wearing these just because there's so many. Just because there's so many pieces. It was when Casey Mears drove the Geico car. You are correct. I pitted that car for 3 seasons. Narwhal says, if you are a dumb young guy with lots of enthusiasm and a willingness to ruin his future crewing race cars, where would you start? How do you break in the business? I mean, your local racetrack is the best place to start. The biggest thing is connections. And like, people have to know they can trust you. You got to get experience somewhere. With his limited experience, you think Landon Crawley is the real deal? I mean, he looks to be so far. I know. I mean, it's only been a few races, but Volusia's no joke, and to go out and be fast at Volusia. When are we going to talk about a dirt race being on an asphalt track next year? Most likely Speed Weeks, not Lucas. I don't know. That's a rumor I have not heard. The Ritz wants to know if I knew about T-Mac before his email. Yes, I did. I did wear Nomex. Actually, I wore, so we wore 3-piece or 3-layer fire suits, and then I wore Nomex underneath, and I had a head sock and a top and a bottom and socks and all of it. With all the modern technology available, why doesn't Hoosier stamp serial numbers on each tire for tracking? I'm not like super up on Hoosier tires and how they're done that way. I would assume there's some measure of tracking numbers on them, but I don't know about that one. All right, so what are our guesses for what Pierce does for the rest of the year? I mean, is he gonna go after, you know, another championship? Um, you know, I saw some people talking about the Summer Nationals, but if he's mad at World Racing Group, is he gonna come run Summer Nationals again? When I talked to him earlier this week, he wasn't sure what they were gonna do. Thomas wants to know if I have any plans to work with Winged Nation again. I don't know. Those were kind of just one-off deals here and there when they needed some fill-in help. It would be hard for me to do some of that stuff now just because as Dirt Tracker grows and grad school and keeping up with my 10-year-old, there's just less and less and less free time for stuff like that. So it's like, what could Pierce do? So Pierce, I see people talking about Flow Night. So obviously that one makes a ton of sense. He won that championship last year. XR could be another one that he wins because obviously he won that one again last year, or won that one last year as well. So Flow and XR are two easy possibilities. I don't know about Hunt the Front. The one thing about Hunt the Front is obviously very southeast based, and not that Bobby can't travel all over the place, but I don't see him doing that one. Ed says he's going drag racing. And the other thing, yeah, Paul said it too. Dirt car sanctioned Hunt the Front as well, and there's so many things that like are dirt car sanctioned. So like, I mean, right now Bobby can't run the Hunt the Front opener. Ashley says in Fager's video that he said that there was no tracking from Hoosier. And by the way, if you guys are in here, make sure to hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel, like the video. We don't do live streams all the time, but we do videos Sunday through Thursday. You can also find the show on any podcast places, also dirttracker.com. Tanner wants to know if I think Pennsboro will open on time. I have no idea what will happen at Pennsboro. I feel like the plans have changed so many times at Pennsboro now. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. Richard says, if everyone has a chance to dope tires, could you just let it go? Let them take their chances. It's like the argument's always that it's, you know, not fair. It's costs money. I don't know. I feel like when you start doing things like that, you're opening up cans of worms. That's the one thing I don't understand too about, like, there's so many people who are like, just let them run what they brung. It's like, it's supposed to be outlaws. Run what you brung. Run. It's like, when is it? Like, when was the last time any major dirt racing series was run what you brung? Like, it hasn't been like that in several decades. Track Rats wants to know where I grew up. I'm from Oregon. To get back at WRG, Bobby will sign on with High Limit. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing Bobby in a sprint car. I feel like there's quite a few late model guys who would be great in sprint cars. I know we've talked about, you know, Ricky Thornton Jr. is a guy that's been talked about. We know Devin Moran has run a couple of sprint car races. We saw Overton do it at World Finals a few years ago. Ed wants to know if I would like to drive a dirt race car. I mean, probably not. Brent says, did the lab detect a chemical on the tires, or was there just a difference in the compound of the rubber that was chemically altered? I don't really know what the difference between those two questions is, but the lab says the tires were chemically altered. Brian Carter even said that they detected chemicals in the tires that are obviously not there in the manufacturing process and that don't exist on the Hoosier Tire campus. I have no idea what's better between Cottage Grove or Willamette. I had never been to either of those racetracks. When I was a kid, the very first race I ever went to was the old Medford Speedway. That was a dirt track, but then we were mostly pavement fans, and we went to, Portland Speedway and Evergreen and South Sound and places like that. What did I think of the Zach Hampton and Danny Dietrich convo on Twitter the other night? I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, Danny's going to say the things that Danny says. So I think Zach was, obviously asking questions and, trying to understand the situation and was curious about things. And I think a little discourse isn't bad once in a while. Was being at the mill with a super as cool as it looked? What mill are you referring to? Ryan wants to know what inspired the build series with Zach. Zach actually reached out to me and was like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? He was like, I could film everything and send you all the footage. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm certainly down for that. So if you notice in the video, Zach is watching stuff at Volusia. He kind of built a car kind of over a 3-4 day period. And so he basically just uploaded all the footage to me, and I've been editing it all together into the episodes. He had 2 cameras running. He had kind of like a further pulled back view, plus the one where you kind of see him talking a lot. It's about 13 hours that it took him to build everything. So I'm kind of paring it all down from that 13 hours of footage. Oh, with Shepherd testing, yeah, the going to Millbridge last year with Brandon Shepherd testing the Longhorn car was pretty wild. It actually didn't look like as crazy as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to look like this huge race car on this little tiny racetrack. And obviously you could never run a full field of dirt late models there, but you could definitely put a couple out there, and I think it would be kind of fun. But I mean, Shepherd had knocked the wall down basically within a handful of laps. He'd already touched that right rear quarter. Yep, I've been Yakima Speedway. I've been to Yakima, Tri-City, Yakima, South Sound, Evergreen, all of those places. I used to follow the Northwest Tour. If you guys know anything about NASCAR, Alex Bowman, his spotter, Kevin Hamlin, I've known Kevin for 25 years, and Kevin used to run Northwest Tour. Have I been to Millbridge for the DNQ kart series? I've been to Millbridge for quite a few different shows. We've seen micros out there, outlaw karts. Obviously, been there for both the extreme midget races. Millbridge is like 45 minutes from my house. Tom says, enjoyed Brian Carter on Kelly Earnhardt's podcast and not realize how WRG puts back into tracks, not just financially. Does High Limit do anything like this, or are they strictly about the drivers? I don't know what High Limit's plans are to help out the racetracks. I mean, I know that they have, some plans to do, some things, and, the sanction fee structure is different, and some of that stuff is different. So I don't know exactly what their plans are for how they're going to help out racetracks in the future. Yes, I did see that McCready has left Paler Motorsports. Was your first time at PRI? Was that your first time at PRI, and are you going back? It was my first time at PRI. I'm sure I will be back at some point. I'm actually I got my PRI show badges back here on the shelf. Dan says, I wish big block modifieds got talked about more. Yeah, I've tried talking about big block modifieds and the USMTS and all of those things, but nobody watches when I do that stuff. I can't even get people to tune in when I put a non-wing sprint car on the thumbnail. Gil wants to know if I still live in Oregon. No, I have not lived in Oregon since 2005. I went to college in Florida, and then I've been in Charlotte since 2006. Do I have any history with Biffle? No, Biffle was already like into the truck series by the time I really kind of started getting involved with the Northwest Tour stuff. I remember seeing him. He would come back and hang out from time to time, but not really seeing him race. Yeah, Darren says, so McCready to the Rocket House car. I mean, all signs are certainly pointing that direction. That's what the rumors have said, McCready to the house car. Now, obviously, out of nowhere, he's left the Paler team. I don't think that's a coincidence. Brad wants to know where I went to college in Florida. I went to the University of Miami. Any insight on a replacement crew chief for Eliason? The replacement crew chief for Eliason has already been announced. It is Jim Shuttlesworth. Jeremy Elliott had that story this morning. Yeah, I mean, I've been talking about the big block modifieds at Port Royal all week. I talked about the entries. I mean, I do updates. It's not like I don't talk about them at all. It's just they're not going to be featured because it doesn't move the needle. What do I think about RSR? I think they've had a very difficult start to the season. I'm not shocked that they made a change. You know, they've brought some more sponsorship in. They're running a national tour. I think expectations were pretty high. So the average person can't afford a subscription to every streaming service. Do you think we will ever see a consolidation? I think you've already seen consolidation in the streaming services. I mean, most of the big stuff is either on Flow or Dirt Vision. Chris says, Oregon to Florida, talk about culture shock. Yeah, that was kind of the idea, actually. That's why I went there, because it wasn't Oregon. And not that I have anything against Oregon, right? Love Oregon. It's great. But I lived there my whole life. I wanted to get out and live somewhere else for a while. Should anything be read into Sheppy and now O'Neill leaving Rocket? Two very different situations. Very, very different situations. Have I ever been to Oswego? I've not been to Oswego. Yes, the helmet that's behind me is a snowboarding helmet, but it is one I used for pit crew stuff, not snowboarding. Where do you think O'Neill ends up in all of this? I'm not sure. I would imagine he'll end up in a decent ride. It might not happen immediately this year, but I mean, he's one of the top talents in the game. Like, he's an easy top 5, right? I mean, somebody will give him an opportunity. Will TRD ever give Kofoid a chance in NASCAR? They kind of already did. I mean, he got some truck starts. I don't know that he'll get another one. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see, but who do you think has the deeper pockets, Dirt Vision or Flow? I mean, like, Flow Sports got, what, $70 or $80 million worth of venture funding, right? But that money is spread out across all sorts of verticals. So it's tough to say, right? Two very different business models. I mean, Dirt Vision is going to cover the stuff in-house at World Racing Group, plus what other deals they can put together. The World of Outlaws, Super Dirt Car Series, Dirt Car National, Super Dirt Week, all of those things will always be on Dirt Vision. So very, very different models. Does Hudson have a family car? I don't know if they have equipment or not. I would assume that there's probably not a situation where they're setting up their own team. Steven says, who's going into the rocket car? McCready. That's all signs are pointing that way. Have we had any more updates since we started here? I feel like I'm trying to keep track of what's happening on Twitter momentarily, but it looks like as for now, the World of Outlaws race in Texas is still going on. You do have Extreme Midgets indoors. You don't have to worry about that getting rained out. Hunt the Front is tomorrow. Looks like we're junking cars already at Port Royal. That's not good. Atticus says Mother Nature was kind to us last night, just a little wet on the grounds. That's good. Do you think Flow ever separates the verticals and sells each as an extra add-on, more like cable packages? I don't think that'll happen. I think they'll keep it all wrapped up into one. Do you think that the Macris can keep it together for a full season? I hope they've learned their lesson after what happened last year. I heard a rumor that Kevin Rumley might do a deal for Hudson O'Neal. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I haven't heard that one. Dunewich wants to know what my opinion is on Race and Jason. I don't have one. I think I'm not that deep into it. Is Don O'Neal officially retired? I would say so. How long have we been doing this for? What are we at right now, time-wise? Oh, we're about an hour already. Wow, that went by fast. Put Don in the rocket one. Are you guys going to any racetracks this weekend? What are you watching? Do we got win picks? What do we think right now? Yeah, the Shuttlesworth situation, there's two. It's father-son. Father going to a licensed car, son still with Borden. I didn't think they could enter to compete after Speed Weeks. Tommy, I don't understand your question. Oh, yeah, Narc Sprint Cars, California, out at Silver Dollar Speedway. They're running tonight for 4,000 unsanctioned, tomorrow 10,000 Narc sanctioned. Yeah, Tommy, I mean, you can still... I think the World of Outlaws thing is a little bit done a little differently because they give you points, extra points when you sign on. But Lucas, I mean, we never really officially got an announcement that Overton was full-time last year. So yeah, you could still sign on with Lucas well after Speed Weeks. Pierce will be eligible to race Summer Nationals because Summer Nationals won't start until after his suspension is well over. But that, I mean, obviously, as long as he has done all of the things he needs to do under the penalty, paid the fines and all of that. Is USAC CRA streamed anywhere nowadays? I don't know. I'm not sure if that one... Paris kind of seemed like they were against a lot of the streaming stuff, so I don't know... I don't know if that's something that's going to happen. Yeah, it's the real Hudson O'Neal, whose name is spelled incorrectly in the chat. You guys are killing me. In case you just got here, we do have stickers available now. A little bit of merch trickling back in shop.dirttracker.com. Stickers back in stock. I do have a couple of shirts left. I think they're size small though. But they're like, I think I have them marked down to like $10. What do we have happening? Let me look. I have one small blue shirt left. So if you want it, $10. Shop.dirttracker.com. I don't have any hats right now. I'm getting hats. I'm getting new shirts. People are already requesting other things. But there will be new merch coming soon. Oh man, the text messages that I get these days. Yeah, the Williams Grove has a new bridge. It didn't have stairs. Supposedly they put stairs in before they raced this weekend. I'd have to lose 100 pounds to fit in a small. I love it. Doug wants to know if I'm heading to any races this weekend. I am not. I will be here at the house. Lots and lots of things to do. Worried about narc car counts with Dom and Corey doing other things. Chico should be okay, but on average. Yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure. It's like, is that going to be a situation where guys know that Dom and Corey aren't going to be there and that the championship is more wide open, so maybe you'll get more guys to throw the 410 and go race with them? I'm not sure. Who is taller, me or Dale Blaney? Dale Blaney is definitely taller than me. I'm like 6 foot, 6'1". Dale is way taller than me. Any plans to come to the West Coast for outlaw high limit swings? I mean, nothing right now. I don't want to say there's zero chance, but I don't know. Ryan says that means editing more episodes of the sprint car build. Yes, actually, I started on the Sunday episode last night. I'm about halfway through editing it, so. How many people come to my website thinking it's about AMA motorcycles? I have no idea. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I think maybe we'll wrap it up, unless you guys have other things you want to talk about. I feel like we've kind of covered a lot of it. Darren says I look taller on YouTube. How do I look taller on YouTube? You see like this much of me on YouTube. The camera adds 10 inches. No, it doesn't. All right, fam. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We will be back on Sunday with the usual daily show. Yeah, keep an eye out for merch. DirtTracker.com. Subscribe to the show. Podcast places, YouTube, Dirt Tracker Plus, if you want to be a stat nerd like me, that's available. You can be a channel member. If you notice in the chat, like if you look at Ryan in the chat, he's got the little gold tire next to him. That's because Ryan is a channel member. If you want to sign up for that, you can do that. YouTube.com/dirttracker/join. Appreciate everybody who tunes in, comments. Thanks everybody for coming and hanging out. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you guys on Sunday.